Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions from my email. I figured everybody should hear this because we're all here to learn about tennis. All right, first question from Kenneth Wong. Kenneth is trying to replace a Babolat Pure Control Xylon 360. He has a full fast swing, not too attached to any particular brand or racket. So, Kenneth, that's a very old racket, as you know. So, the closest thing we're gonna get to your racket, because I'm 100% sure you're used to the feel, you're used to, the weight, the balance. It's probably part of your right arm at this point. So I would say the easiest transition would be the Babolat Pure Strike VS. That would be the closest thing we can get. Now, if you tell me you're in the market to try a bunch of different things, but that's the one I would say would be closest to what you got. Now, try a Wilson Blade 16x19. Try a Yonex E-Zone 98. And finally, try a Head Speed MP. Those four are probably as close as you're gonna get to kind of what you're used to and what you're looking for. All right, good luck, Kenneth. So Sean Michael Andrews asked me if there is an American company made in the USA rackets. He's saying that he's willing to buy a racket that's made in the USA, and we're sure that people would be willing to spend the extra money on a racket that's made in America. But he was curious to see how much it would cost for a racket to be made in America. So Sean, I've actually asked that question before to the manufacturers, and it's gonna be like more than double the production cost, more like triple. So let's say you're paying $200 for a standard rackets today. To be made in America, I would say that racket's going to be at least $350. That would be on the low side. So if you want a racket that's made in America, either we got to sell a ton of them to get that price down, or we got to start at about $350 is my educated guess. That's kind of like why everybody's sending production to China, because they have two major plants there that all they do is make rackets. And then we all know that Yonex has their own plant in Japan that just makes rackets for them. All right, question from Christian in Germany. Let's see. He says, I think you play with a Wilson Clash Pro is what I play with Solinco Confidential strings, and you love them more than anything. That is true. What about the other two players, Coach Chris and Coach Andrew? Coach Andrew is actually using Solinco Confidential 16L just like me now. Coach Chris is in search of a new string, and he's actually in search of a new racket. So we're trying to find a new racket for him to change out that old Yonex V-Core. So we'll let you know. We're gonna do a video on Chris's search for a new racket. It's been about 2-3 weeks now, and he still hasn't found anything that he's loving right now. Let me see your second part of the question. He's like, maybe you can also do a video about stringing two different strings. For example, I play Vocal Cyclone on the mains and Kirschbaum Power on the cross. A report on pros and cons of mixed tennis strings would be great. I know that Volco Cyclone is a polyester, and the Kirschbaum Pro is a soft polyester, from what I remember, if that's what we're talking about, like a Pro line. So those two strings mixed together is kind of meant for spin and pretty good power, because you have a medium stiff string on the Cyclone and a soft string on the Cross. So on the long strings, which is the mains, that's what you're going to feel. That's what's going to feel the most. So you feel that Volco Cyclone when the ball strikes your racket. The Cross is what's going to actually hold the tension, is what's going to enhance that main string. So the reason why people use polyester on the main and a synthetic on the Cross, or a gut on the Cross in the beginning, was that they got a soft feel with the Cross, but the main is what they felt. It gave them spin, it gave them durability. For the most part, sorry, pause.
Okay.
For the most part, it gave them, an enhanced string bed. So the Cross when it's a synthetic or a gut is what's holding tension. The mains is what's giving you the sling and the spin. So I'll do a better and a longer video on that one too. But what you have basically is, I want to say 10 hours of life from that string before it really loosens up, because I know how those strings are. I know Cyclone has 10 hours of string life and it just falls off a cliff, gets super loose after that. And that Kirschbaum is already soft off the bat, so what you're getting right now is power and spin for like 10 hours, and then after that you're going to get more power and spin and a lot of sling after that. All right, so more to come on that one. Thank you, Christian. Okay, next question is from Indar. Where do you see the version of a tennis racket, specifically Yonex E-Zone 98, DR98, and not sure what version that is that, and also I do not see it mentioned in the new E-Zone also. This is to make sure I'm not buying some old inventory. So here's the thing, Indar. About 3 years ago, they discontinued that Yonex E-Zone DR98 racket. They came out with that crappy E-Zone 98 racket. Now, they introduced a new E-Zone 98 for this year, 2020. Now, that DR is actually a really good racket, and if you can get your hands on that, definitely do that. Don't get the one that got discontinued last year in 2019. That's not a very good version. The newest version that came out in 2020 is as close to that DR98 as you can get. So buy the 2020 version. Make sure it's that version. This is what is on the cover of the newest version, okay? It's Kyrgios and Naomi, okay? And let's see if I can show you this part. Like this part, I think looks very similar to the old one, but just be careful that you're getting the new version, okay? It's gonna look like that, all right? The back's gonna look like that. In the newest placards, I think it has like awards on the bottom here in the newest placards. Also, more from Indar. Also, I heard you saying that racket stiffness, RA factor, has nothing to do with tennis elbow or pain or forearm, but I have felt it myself when I use the head radical. I used to get a lot of pain. I am a beginner, especially when serving, as most of the serves used to hit the frame. hit the frame. And I demoed a couple of Head Wilson rackets, and then finally chose the DR98 as I felt very arm friendly. Not sure it has to do with the RA factor or just that the E-Zone has heavier than other rackets that I've tried. So here's the thing. The Radical head is 10.4 ounces. I've actually, used it for about a month because I committed to it and then I kind of pulled away from it about 5 years ago. So I'm familiar with the racket, and I'm definitely familiar with the E-Zone. So the thing about that Radical is that it's pretty head light. So you're basically struggling to find that head, especially on a serve. When you come through a serve with a Head Radical, you got such a light head when you sling it up there that you want a little more weight on the top of the head. You need a little more weight on top of the head to kind of finish the serve through, which that Radical doesn't quite give you, especially in that MP form. So when you switched over to the E-Zone 98 or the DR 98, there was definitely more weight up here, which allowed you to snap it a little more easily. But I know exactly what you mean. But just, the serve is one of those things that can definitely hurt you. So make sure you're relaxed on the serve and make sure, you're not gripping it so tight. Because what you want to do is just let the motion and the wrist and the racket take over. The RA really has nothing to do with it unless it's, super high. It really has nothing to do with it. Just choose the right racket for you, and then, do it the right way. Maybe learn a little bit of technique. You're probably okay already, but, redefine your technique, stay loose, and just practice. Practice makes perfect. All right. So those are the questions that I answered. Hopefully that helped everyone. Thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.